Going to sleep on October 23rd, Eiji Urashima woke up on the 27th with no recollection of how he had spent the previous days. To his surprise, his life has significantly changed for the better. A gorgeous girl from his university is lying by his side and claims to be his new girlfriend. Eiji sees this as a blessing from God and does not further question his mysterious amnesia. But as the event happens more frequently, he finds his life, the part he remembers, becoming entangled in a spiral of events linking a series of 15-year-old serial killings to new ones. This manga follows Yosuke Kobayashi, a police detective working on what seems to be a serial killer case. The murders he comes across are very gruesome and violent, as the killer's signature is the delicate and meticulous mutilation of his victims' limbs. The series gradually evolves into a complex story that shows the detective slowly drowning into the depths of insanity as he starts to understand and perhaps even relate to the killer's ideas and cold-blooded desires. Route N brings a breath of originality to mangas with serial killers, as it is not told from the perspective of the murderer, victim, or law enforcers. Instead, the story follows Haruno, a young man who works as a cleaner for a company specializing in cleaning dead bodies and their remaining traces. At the start of his job, he encounters natural deaths and suicide. But one day, he is dispatched to a scene so terrorizing and eerie it leaves him at a loss for reactions. There he finds a dismembered body whose parts are laid out to spell end, a word he will soon start to encounter on many of his job assignments. In the hallowed halls of Shinku Academy Machida High, no one is more capable and beloved than the charismatic and handsome teacher Seiji Hasumi, who is always willing to go the extra mile for his students. But beneath his charming facade lies a psychopath who manipulates people and events around him so that everything goes his way. From dealing with troublesome parents and bullies to unruly delinquents, no problem is too big for Hasumi, as he orchestrates events at the school and even murders people in order to build it into his own perfect kingdom. Museum is a serial killing manga that wraps its readers in a constant sense of tension. As you flip or scroll through panels doused in blood, you'll keep wondering when the next attack of the serial killer will occur, who will be his next victim, and more importantly, how will he kill them, as he has a penchant for novelty. As the story edges on, a detective slowly gets pushed toward the other side of the law. Through scenes of intense graphic violence, this manga follows the story of Hiroki Dan, a diligent police detective known for his high number of closed cases. Hiroki believes in the law and firmly abides by it, but sometimes finds it lacking when it fails to touch perpetrators that seem to be beyond its reach. On these occasions, he takes matters into his own hands, both deciding and inflicting the final verdict on criminals who become victims of his cold and calculated rage. Although the plot might seem a bit cliché for fans of the genre, it is well executed and will send a chill or two down your spine. Monster is probably one of the best manga ever created to represent a methodic and calculating cold-blooded serial killer. Many characters' lives intertwine through the storyline, all linked by one person. A charming and collected psychopath who seems to enjoy watching people suffer and finds delight and ecstasy in watching his victim's pulse succumb to his calculated and twisted acts. Takeda is diagnosed with cancer and feels that he has nothing to live for. Hopeless, he decides to end his life. But when he is about to hang himself, the phone rings. The police have just found the corpse of his daughter, Sawako, who disappeared more than 14 years ago. Under Japanese law, the statute of limitations for murder only lasts 15 years. Takeda has only 6 months left. 6 months to live, 6 months to find his daughter's killer and deliver him to the authorities. After 14 years of silence and obscurity, the family ties are reborn. The story begins as young Ryo Narusima, armed with a small knife, brutally murders his parents in a living room, now tinted with blood. SHAMO differs significantly from other manga in that the story's protagonist is actually an unrepentant and often unsympathetic criminal. Throughout the manga, Ryo Narushima spirals into darkness, his chances at reform slowly ebbing away as he gives in to more and more of his depraved, brutal, and grotesque serial killer tendencies. When the town of Mitaka and Musashino bear witness to a series of bizarre and mysterious murders of schoolgirls, The curiosity of crime fiction writer Tatsumi Sekiguchi and news magazine editor Morihiko Toriguchi are piqued. As they relocate to the vicinity, the pair begins to closely follow this series of unusual serial killing crimes in order to solve it. Slowly, new evidence emerges in the form of boxes stuffed with dismembered arms and legs.